Welcome back to the Ignore the Tablet podcast, the only FPL podcast on the entire internet, hosted by me. My name is Devin, and we're almost at the end. 2 more game weeks. We finished the double game week in 36. Ended up being about as boring as I anticipated it to be. And I guess I'm just glad I didn't go for more Palace players, although Ismail Assar did pretty good. That was one I was considering, but alas, let's just jump into how I did in Game Week 36, start planning for Game Week 37, aka the penultimate game week. And yeah, there's really not a whole lot of decisions to make. I've got 2 free transfers, so we're going to try to identify some good players for the final 2 stretches. Although, if I'm looking at the fixture difficulty rating, do I want to target Wolves for players? Am I bringing Wolves players in? Is that where we've gotten at this point? Yeah, so it's not looking good, but at the same point, everyone's in the same boat. So let's take a look at how I did, and yeah, let's start the episode. Game week 36 ended up being pretty good for me, honestly. I got a 6-point green arrow, which is modest at this point in the season. I had far too many negative 15s, negative 12s. Like, I'm curious to jump back and see where my biggest green arrow was, because I feel like I've only ever made incremental steps this season, which I don't feel like is very typical. FPL has big swings and roundabouts. I've had more roundabouts than swings, definitely in that latter part of the season, but here we are. 90 points was my total. Had a safety score of 84, got a 6-point green arrow, and looking at my differentials, Margehi finally was the better differential over O'Reilly because he played 2 matches, got 2 clean sheets, right? Must have gotten some defensive contribution, maybe a bonus point, who knows? But O'Reilly did not play the second match. That's probably some of the biggest news. Also, Holland didn't play. So that's basically where probably the majority of my point differential came from, is owning Margehi. My other differential was Lacroix, who got 4 points, which was not better than a player I had on my bench, but I had to go for it. I think you play the probability on it, and you know that this was probably a low. Actually, I don't know. Crystal Palace have been so poor in the second half of the season. I find it hard to say there was a high probability of getting anything from any of their players, but I made I reduced the risk a little bit, because I was going to get in, like, originally I could have planned for 3 Crystal Palace players, and at the end of the day I only went for 1, which I think was good, because there were a lot of good scores around. Now, the threats to my rank were O'Reilly, who got 5, Cherki, who got 5, and Pascal Gross, who got 6. So ultimately, okay. Like, it could have been far worse. Definitely could have seen a double-digit haul from O'Reilly or Cherki. Pascal Gross, I don't know how he keeps getting points. Now, let's jump to the full team. And yeah, like I said, across the board, pretty decent point scoring. We've got Verbruggen with 6, Margehi with 15, Gabriel with 11, Van Hecke with 6, Lacroix with 4, Semenyo with 12, Saka with 2. That was kind of disappointing. Bruno Fernandes with 3, Erling Haaland only playing the 1 match, but he got 11 points, doubled to 2 for the captains, doubled to 22 for the captaincy. João Pedro with 2, Calvert-Lewin with 7, got a penalty goal. Now, this was kind of a bummer, because I guess, like, I had brought in all these Bournemouth players as differentials, and this was on paper kind of like a difficult fixture, but they ended up doing pretty well. Petrovic got 6, Senesi got 2, or sorry, Senesi got 8, Tavernier got 2, and the last player on my bench was Aronson, who got 2. So overall, feeling pretty decent about the score. I'm back up around the 50k purgatory mark that I cannot seem to shake, and I think that's just probably where I'm going to land. I'll probably get a mild red arrow next week and a mild green arrow at the end of the season, and then I'll probably end exactly on 50k. Wouldn't that be hilarious? But that's how it went in Game Week 36. Do I have any additional thoughts about it? Not really, because I think Saka probably was a good pick given their fixture, and the fact that they played pretty well against West Ham, or they had been playing pretty well up to that point. Now, I know there was some controversy in that match, but generally speaking, I felt like Arsenal did deserve to win it. Bruno Fernandes with 3 points. He's been fine all season, so I'm not going to give him a hard time. Lacroix, I guess. Lacroix and João Pedro are probably the two bummers, but am I going to play Senesi over João Pedro? I think I had considered it, but I'm always going to go for the attacker, even though they were playing Liverpool. Liverpool, as we saw, very poor defensively, and it could have been when I said it could have been 3-3, I felt like watching the match it really probably should have been 3-3, but I don't even remember how it ended. 1-1. It was definitely a draw, but yeah, there could have been far more goals in that match, and I guess maybe a little unlucky João Pedro only got the 2. So that was my team in game week 36. Let's jump ahead and start planning for 37, because yeah, it's just 37, 38, 2 fixtures. It should be pretty easy to narrow down. Got 2 free transfers. What the hell am I thinking about? So first, I think it's probably important to look at what's the fixture difficulty rating over the next 2 matches. Because yeah, like I said, it's pretty easy to narrow in on a team that has good fixtures when there's only 2 left. So the team with the highest rated FDR, or the best FDR, easiest fixtures across the next 2, according to Fantasy Football Hub. Is that what they're? Yeah, fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. I don't sponsor them, or they don't sponsor me, but it is fairly easy to. They've got a good presentation. I don't subscribe or join or any of that stuff, but the presentation of their FDR is pretty clean. So Wolves is their best. They're playing Fulham at home and Burnley away. I would not bring in any Wolves players. I mean, it's such a crapshoot. None of their players have done well consistently over the course of the season. Wolves have largely been one of the worst teams in the league. I think Burnley have been the worst team in the league. Wolves are probably second. They're probably an easy second. Now, the next team with the next best fixtures, according to this website, Arsenal, who play Burnley at home. That's the kind of fixture I'm looking at. And then they play Crystal Palace away, which Crystal Palace have been so bad in this latter phase when they're focusing on Europe. Maybe this orange or yellow or whatever, I am colorblind. Maybe this general color that I can't decipher, maybe that should be green, because they just got pumped by Man City, who put 3 by him with their rotated squad without Haaland. So I think Arsenal are probably the most targetable team. I've already got 2 of their players. Yeah, Saka and Gabriel. Glad that I have Saka this week. Probably going to be my captaincy pick. So the first thought I have is, let's change Lacroix and turn him into somebody boring like Saliba. Probably getting a clean sheet across the 2 matches, probably not any attacking returns, probably not any defensive contributions, but the floor is so low. The floor is high. I guess I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point, but the floor is a good level for Saliba, and compared to the other picks or other teams that we could target, I'm not impressed. So next on the list is Fulham, who play Wolves away, Newcastle at home. I think, Wolves is a great targetable fixture. Newcastle at home is actually, that's probably pretty good too. But do they have players that I would want to bring in? Like maybe Harry Wilson. He hasn't been very good lately. Their defender, who I'm drawing a blank on, who used to play for Palace. Not sexy, but maybe slightly more sexy than Saliba, because I'm guessing people are going to be bringing him in this week. Newcastle are next on the list. They play West Ham at home, which I think is probably going to be more difficult than they would expect. And then they play Fulham away, which I think is challenging. So probably not going to go there. Everton plays Sunderland home, then Tottenham away. Chelsea play Tottenham at home, Sunderland away. One good fixture, although under De Zerbi, it might be more challenging than expected. I'll probably still keep João Pedro in the starting 11 for that one, but I could see goals flying around both ends, not bringing a defender. Leeds have Brighton at home, West Ham away. Burnley, not going to skip right over that one. Manchester United had Nottingham Forest at home, Brighton away. That could be actually pretty good. Spurs, then Sunderland. Yeah, the rest of these I'm just not interested in. One that I will give a shout out to is Brentford, who play Crystal Palace at home. Because Crystal Palace have been so bad, maybe that to get Thiago in is probably not a bad idea. I don't think I've got the money for that, unfortunately. Plus the players that I have, João Pedro and Calvert-Lewin. I'm not going to sell Haaland. The players that I would sell for a Thiago, I'm perfectly comfortable with having them. Calvert-Lewin against Brighton at home, West Ham away. That's fine. Chelsea with João Pedro at home. I'll definitely play him in that one. Maybe I have enough players on my squad to rest them against Sunderland away, if you know what I mean. So, general thoughts, would probably love to bring in an Arsenal player, a Fulham player, maybe a Manchester United player, but Sesko's out, so yeah, forwards would not be, yeah, and I don't think I could stretch to an Mbeumo or a Cunha, so those are probably going to be off the table, but interesting. And after thinking about it for all of 2 seconds, I've got 2 game plans that are possible. I think I'm leaning towards the one that's on screen for the YouTube guys. But there's one other opportunity that is way more boring. So just to refer to my team for Gameweek 37, we would have Verbruggen in goal against Leeds away, Hugo Bueno against Fulham at home, surprisingly. Gabriel against Burnley at home. I need to check if Hugo Bueno has been playing consistently. I think he has, but honestly, 2 seconds, this is what I came up with. Gabriel playing against Burnley at home. That's a lock. Van Hecke against Leeds away. Semenyo against Bournemouth away. Saka against Burnley at home. Probably going to be captain. Bruno Fernandes against Nottingham Forest at home. Trossard against Burnley at home. Haaland against Bournemouth away. Calvert-Lewin against Brighton at home. João Pedro against Tottenham at home. Now, obviously, the 2 moves that I made, I swapped Lacroix out for Hugo Bueno, and I also swapped Brendan Aronson out for Trossard. So that was the only affordable thing for my team. I actually have 0 money in the bank. So before this podcast goes out, I need to check to see if Trossard is going up in price. If he is, I might just pull the trigger just because it's hilarious and it's a meme if I bring these 2 guys in and they do well. Especially because Wolves playing Burnley at the end of the season. Yeah, I think that's fine. So this is what I'm leaning towards. Now, the alternative would be that Trossard or Brendan Aronson would turn into a player that is not going to play, or I guess technically could play, Rio Ngamoa. He's 4.2 million. I would bring him in, and then Lacroix would turn into Saliba. Now, the fact that I forgot that Rio Ngamoa he's definitely likely to play, but will he start and get sufficient minutes? Not so sure. He actually came off at the Chelsea match because of an injury when Anfield was, when the cop was booing the substitution. It turns out that the substitution was actually because he had asked to come off, or he said to Slot that he wasn't going to be able to continue based from the challenge 3 minutes prior to his sub. So does that mean he's not going to be fit? And I need to think about that a little bit more, but it does become a little bit more enticing if Rio is fit and able to play and likely to get 60, 70 minutes, because if that's true, maybe I will bring in Rio and Saliba. I think that's that's the conservative, probably the smart answer, because at the end of the day, you don't need to play Rio. On my bench, Petrovic, well, obviously he can't, but Tavernier, Mark Gahi, Senesi, they're all viable to bring in. off the bench and put Rio on the bench. In this case, I probably would do the attacker, so it would still be a 3-4-3 and it would just be Tavernier against Man City. But I would have Saliba against Burnley and then Crystal Palace. So that's an option. And obviously, Hugo Bueno can become several other players. Diouf, who's fun and interesting. Alderete, Hill, although actually he can't because I have 3 Bournemouth players. Beehole, Rodon, Struick, lots of guys. So I picked Hugo Bueno because it's a meme and they have actually good fixtures. But if you want to go for a smarter play, I'd probably go with Diouf. That would probably be my pick because I think they probably get a clean sheet against Leeds. And they can maybe squeak a clean sheet against Newcastle away. But they need to start getting points. So I don't know if that will mean that they'll have to turn more attacking in these next 2, or if it means that they're going to try to just really shut up shop and just hope that Spurs drop points. Because are they level? Let me look. This is live, baby. They're down by 2 points, so they actually do have to win. Yeah, because their goal difference is -20. So even if they drew the next 2 games and Tottenham lost both their next 2 games, unless Tottenham lost by like 5 goals apiece, more so, it's yeah, West Ham are going down. So honestly, even though Trossard is a minutes risk, that might be fun and hilarious enough just to pick, and they've got good fixtures. Hugo Bueno's got good fixtures. This is kind of what I'm leaning towards. Outside of this, like I said, I mean, if I had the money, well, obviously I could do João Pedro to Thiago, but I've got 2 free transfers. I'm not really, I feel like that's more of a sideways move. Like, I like João Pedro against Tottenham. I think that's going to be an attacking game. I think the Chelsea fans will hopefully be up for it. So yeah, I feel like that's that's too marginal for me. If I really want to go for something, I want to go for something kind of hilarious that is a huge differential. I think it's a huge differential. Are people bringing in Trossard? Has not been good, but in the past 2 game weeks he has been. So you can continue on the form. If Martinelli stays on the bench, I think this could be a good shout. So this is what I'm leaning towards. I'll obviously post my final team in the Discord before the game week kicks off, but yeah, I think this is going to be it for my team. Let's jump straight into the scout versus scout competition, straight into, as if we're not halfway through the episode. But let's talk about scout versus scout, how that competition broke down, because always interesting to see how the free hit teams compare. As you can see on the screen, this was the team that I came up with for my scout versus scout competition, which obviously I haven't introed it, but we're at the end of the season and you probably know what's going on. But just to slightly recap, I put up a free hit team to go up against the official FPL scout team that they put up every week. And if my team loses, the team that I put up loses to the official scout, I give $10, I think it is, to the game week leader of the mini league. So this was the team, and I wasn't super confident in it. I mean, I thought, you know, the double game weekers were bad, but I thought that was maybe more of a differential play, something more interesting. And it turns out they were horrible for the most part, but I still ended up winning. So this team that we see on screen, Martinez got a clean sheet, I think, or 6 points. I don't know how he got the 6 points, but he got them. Mark Gehi, he got 15 points. Gabriel got 11. O'Reilly got 5. Lacroix got 4. Munoz got 3. Of course, both of those players were in double game weeks, so you would hope they would have gotten more, but they did not. Ismail Assar did get some, though. He got 8. Rogers got 2 and Bruno got 3. Holland was my captain, who, of course, 11 points, doubled to 22, and Watkins got 9. Now, the team that the scout put up against mine, Henderson, who got 3. Then they had all the same defenders. They had 3 of the same defenders. And then in midfield, they had Bruno, Saka, who only got 2, Cherky, who only got 5, Gross, who got 6, and then they had Welbeck. Those were the only differences from my team. Welbeck got 2 points. So yeah, at the end of the day, my team got 88 points. The official FPL scout got 72. And to be honest, I don't know if it's because I've kind of stopped putting much effort into it, or maybe the scout is trying too hard or something, but I think I'm on a little bit of a win streak. I'd be curious to see how many wins I have up against the official scout, because I did terribly at the beginning of the season, mixed in the middle of the season, and then pretty good towards the end of the season, which is shocking because my actual FPL team has been rancid. So that's how it broke down. So no payouts, but just give a shout out to the top point scorer of the mini league just to see how that broke down and how they probably put my team to shame. And the team to come in first place this week actually didn't do a whole lot better than mine. So yeah, I guess my team ended up doing pretty good relatively. So the team that ended up getting the most points, it's a tie. 2 97 point teams. And they both played their triple captain, so that probably accounted for 11 extra points. So with that, screw you. I would have won if you didn't play your triple captain, assuming you played it on Holland, which you did. So, okay, so 97 points from Raza Kazim, whose team name is Sydney Sweeney 11. I don't know if there's a joke or a pun in there, but I kind of love the name. Sydney Sweeney 11. Just a hot girl and an 11. Okay, so you had Verbruggen, who did well, Van Hecke, Gabrielle O'Reilly Hill, Gross, Semenyo, who I had as well, Bruno, Calvert-Lewin, João Pedro, and so it basically was the triple captain there. No good players on the bench, and the supreme leader, Vivek Ichem, got 97 points while using your triple captaincy chip. So suck it. I still would have scored more than you without the triple captain. Good overall team. Yeah, I guess very similar to the last one, but this one probably has more high highs and lower lows, because it looks like they had blanks from Tavernier, Saka, João Pedro, but they had Raya, Senesi in there. Man, I wish I would have played Senesi, but I guess over who? Saka, João Pedro. Yeah, so that's how it broke down. So good job, guys. Again, if you didn't play that triple cap, no, I'm just kidding. Very good teams. Let's see if I win or lose this coming week. Let's put together a team, which I swear I'm going to put a lot of thought into. And here is the team that I took lots of time and thought on. No, I just ran it through the algorithm. This was what the algorithm team put together as the highest. Actually, let me check on captaincy. What's the highest expected point total? It's probably not going to be Holland. I think it's probably going to be Gabrielle if I had to guess. Projected point total is Gabrielle. Yeah, so yeah, we're back on FPL.team. For some reason, they're not giving me that error message because I blocked the ad. So sorry, you're not getting ad revenue through me, but the ads that you have on your site are so obnoxious. But anyways, this is the team that the algorithm put together. Roofs in goal against Everton away, Anderson against Wolves away, Gabrielle captained against Burnley at home, Mukiele against Everton away, Tarkovsky against Sunderland at home, Malik Chia against West Ham at home, Rice against Burnley at home, Saka against Burnley at home, Bruno against Forest at home, Bruno G against West Ham at home, and Erling Haaland against Bournemouth away. So with all of that, I would probably make some changes. For one, I would probably go, at least, is Eze fit? I'd probably go Eze over Rice. Maybe I would go 2 Arsenal defenders, but actually this defense doesn't look too bad. Maybe Anderson against Wolves away is potentially more tricky than one would think, because Fulham have just not been very good. Definitely not away from home. But generally speaking, I think this is fine. Like, I don't know if Everton have as many goals in the bank as they have kind of showed recently. Maybe that's my ignorance. Maybe that's my bias. But yeah, overall, I think this is good. Oh, actually, yeah, Sunderland. Oh, for some reason I thought that was at home. They're playing Everton away. I would probably swap these out. And there's plenty of money in the bank. Like Calvert-Lewin can go down, Tavernier can go down, Petrovic could go down, and we could put more money into whoever this is. So I'm going to make some final changes, and then at a snap of my fingers, I'll be back with the actual scout team that I'll put out, or the actual free hit team. I'll go up against the scout, I should say. This is the team I'm going to put out. It's slightly different. I went with Pickford instead of Roofs. I went with Saliba instead of Mukiele, and Bueno instead of, I can't even remember. Did I bring anybody else in? Oh yeah, Thiago is in now. So yeah, we've got plenty of money in the bank. Hugo Bueno, obviously, it's just a meme, but I don't know. I just have a funny feeling, and maybe it's because I possibly and likely will have him in my team. I'm not too sure, but yeah, he's going into the free hit competition this week for Gameweek 37, playing Fulham at home. I love it. And yeah, so did I read through the whole team? Pickford, Saliba, Gabriel, captained Gabriel, Tarkowski, Hugo Bueno, Malik Chia, Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno G, Thiago, and Holland is the lineup. So I'll screenshot that, put it on Discord for posterity, and let's see if we can wrap up with any final thoughts, because this has started getting me thinking about just playing differentials for fun, because yeah, we've got 2 weeks left. If you're trying to make some gains, it's so difficult. You got to go kind of rogue. Also, it could be very detrimental to your rank at the same point. So let's look at the data a little bit. I know this is at the very end, and if I had better editing skills, this would probably flow a little bit better. But let's take a look at some of the differential picks that people aren't going to be going for before we wrap up the pod. Okay, and I'm going to try to be quick about this. We have the data up. This is calculated through Game Week 36, and we have a projected point total based on the next match. That's where I'm sorted on. So obviously the players projected to score the highest in the next match are weighted at the top. So I'm going to read through very quickly the obvious ones. I'm going to pull out some ones that may be less so obvious. So Gabriel, Saka, Timber, who's out, Bruno, Rice, Calafiori, who I think is slightly out, injured, possibly, Saliba, Raya, Trossard, I think is interesting. One column I should probably add on here is the percent ownership. I could definitely do that, and it would be interesting to filter that based on only players with less than 10% ownership or something, but obviously it changes, but at the time of pulling the data. So Trossard I think is interesting, Tarkowski I think is interesting, Gyökeres probably interesting, Hincapié, no, Anderson, maybe, Bruno G, no, Mukiele, Tia, Tete from Fulham, Dan Ballard, no, is he still serving that suspension from when I had him on a free hit team? Gordon, Keane, Wilson, Mbumo, Roofs, Casemiro. How does this guy got so many goals this season? Holland, Salah, Botman, Bassi, Dewsbury Hall. There's not a lot of interesting picks, if I'm being completely honest. Njai could be interesting. If I squint, it's interesting. You know what? I want to look at Wolves players, because those are the players who have good fixtures, and it's hilarious. Okay, the highest projected point total player is Mascara, who's played 25 matches. He's 4.3 million defender. Same as Hugo Bueno, who I picked. So maybe I should go for Mascara. I need to look at the lineups, but Mascara, that could be interesting. He's played 25 matches, more than Hugo Bueno, less than Santi Bueno. They just have too many Buenos. All the Buenos. Man, remember when He Chan was good? Those were the days. Where's that one guy who everyone had who was like a forward and very cheap? Am I missing? Oh, Mane, there he is. I'd be curious to see how he's been playing lately. Honestly, Wolves have just been like a black hole of my attention. So I couldn't even tell you half the players on their team. Their team is such a championship team, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the lineups and just see. Let's just take a look. Let's see if anything tickles our fancy. So I'm pulling this up on my phone, so I apologize if you can't see. Oh, they got pumped by Brighton 3-0. Oh, God. Okay, so they are playing with one of the Buenos. They're playing with Santiago Bueno in the center of center defense. Does that mean I should change my free hit team? Because the other Bueno didn't even play. Is he hurt? Where is he? Oh no, he's playing as a wingback. So he did play, but he got subbed at the 46th minute. Mascara looks like a top performer, but doing nothing. Mane, He Chan. Oh yeah, it is not looking good for Wolves. I remember when they had their little remontada, when they first hired what's his name, that were able to pick up some wins. They got to win against Liverpool. This is the season of Liverpool just handing out points. Yeah, the results, if I'm being completely honest, have not looked so good lately. So I'm probably reversing on this tactic, but they've got good fixtures. Oh, they got absolutely thrashed by Brighton. And they got beat by Tottenham. They drew Sunderland. They got thrashed by Leeds. Sorry, they got thrashed by West Ham 4-0. Drew Brentford. Lost to Liverpool in the FA Cup. Yeah, my resolve is crumbling on this whole added segment of the podcast. But if I were to go for somebody, maybe I'd go for Mascara. Cheap, good fixtures, decent projected point total. Hugo Bueno might be the sexier pick just because he plays as a wingback and he's gotten more minutes, but he's played. Oh no, he's played more matches. Why did I think he played less? No, he's played 33. So yeah, anyways, Hugo Bueno, he is the legend. Lower projected point total than a lot of these guys, but actual point total I'd have to look up. I closed that screen off, and at this point I'm literally just rambling. So what's another team that would be hilarious to bring in? Burnley? Oh, I can't go that far. I'm gonna stop this. Let's go to the outro before I like completely blow up my own podcast. Okay, maybe not the most coherent ending to a podcast ever, but maybe it fits with this season. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So yeah, we're just sticking to one podcast per week, although you may have noticed there was a bonus Liverpool episode that popped up detailing all of the summer business I would hope Liverpool look to try to do, or at least like general strategy. Most of all, moving on from Arne Slot, who doesn't fit the system that Richard Hughes built, and bringing in Xabi Alonso, who by some miracle fits every criteria. He knows how to play a wingback system. He has a emotional and physical tie to Liverpool. He's a great up-and-coming manager. He was their first choice. He's worked with a lot of these players, and for some reason, there's no new, like, he may go to Chelsea, which my cope is just hoping that, yeah, I guess this should have just all been in the other podcast, but my hope is that it's just agents trying to force the move ahead, but it's not looking good. If you're a Liverpool fan that would prefer Xabi Alonso to come in, David Ornstein dropping bombs saying they're not doing any summer review, and oh my god, my nose is so itchy, which another sign I should just shut up and end the podcast. So thank you all for listening in. I will be back for one podcast in between 37 and 38. There should be more podcasts to come out about FPL in general, which I've seen the viewership. It's gone down, which maybe means that I should put out the video closer to the start of the season and just at the end of the season call it a day and save all the content for the beginning of next season, where people are maybe a little bit more energized, because I've felt my own interest lacking, starting to dwindle towards the end of the season. So I totally don't blame you all if you're checking out. Viewership's not going up, it's going down. So I'll be back for in between 37 and 38, and then I'll have one more podcast to wrap up the season, and then we'll be back for next season. So I swear I'm going to stop rambling. So I'll see you then. Bye. Good luck with Gameweek 37. Bye.